Hey guys, what's up? Caleb Downing with SDI, and real quick today, let's talk about diagnosing some really light primer strikes on a 9mm PCC. Let's get into it. Alright, so 9mm PCCs, I'm infatuated with them. I absolutely love them. I love building them. I love shooting them. They're fun. They're great suppressor hosts. They're really, really fun. And this is a new build that I put together pretty much like 85% new pieces, and when I brought it out, it ran like a sewing machine for the first 50 rounds or so. And then all of a sudden I started getting some light primer strikes. Every now and then the gun would fire like it's supposed to, but most of the time they were extremely light primer strikes, if like at all getting any kind of primer strike. And I was like, there's something going on here. Stuff going through my head when I was out in the field shooting was, this does have a Geisley trigger, and Geisley triggers have a thinner, well, almost like just a thinner hammer, and so it doesn't have a lot of mass behind it. Whereas a lot of my builds that are 9mm PCCs, they have like a mil spec, a heavier, beefier mass, or heavier mass hammer that's going to strike that firing pin a little bit harder. And I was thinking maybe that's the issue. I don't really have a lot of those issues with Geisleys. Geisleys are really good triggers, but I was thinking maybe that was the issue. Also, I was thinking maybe the extractor on my bolt is just really dirty, because this is one of the pieces that is not new in this build, and I was thinking maybe it's just really dirty and it's not seating properly or allowing the cartridge to seat properly within the bolt and create a standoff so that that firing pin can't quite get to the primer. So these are the things going through my head, processing it and thinking maybe it's one thing, maybe it's another thing. Well, we brought it back to the shop, took the thing apart, and immediately the answer is dead straight in front of my face, right? I pulled the little firing pin retaining pin, pulled this guy out, and my firing pin came out in pieces. So obviously we have a broken firing pin. This is a very easy diagnosis. It could have been some of those other things like I was thinking in the field, but without taking the gun apart, I would not really have been able to ascertain or figure that out. The first thing that I noticed when I took the bolt apart, or I didn't take the bolt apart, I took the bolt out, is that I would push forward. You can push forward on the bolt back here. You push forward and you can see if the firing pin protrudes out the front of the bolt. It should protrude a millimeter or so, just a little bit. It's not a whole lot, but it should protrude enough to be able to strike that primer. Well, it wasn't protruding. I was thinking maybe, and this has happened before, that the tip of the firing pin had broken off. And if that was the issue, then yeah, I'd need to replace my firing pin. But then again, once I pulled that pin out and pulled my entire firing pin out and it came out in pieces, well, then I knew we had an issue. So this is just it's a relatively easy diagnosis, but you do need to know a little bit about the firearm, a little bit how it works to diagnose those different problems. And if it hadn't have been the firing pin, then I would have assumed this is an extremely dirty bolt. Maybe I just need to clean it, because sometimes that's all you got to do. Or maybe it would have been that hammer, a lighter hammer. Maybe it needed a heavier hammer spring. Maybe it just needed a whole new trigger. Maybe that trigger wasn't going to work with the system. So diagnosing these problems are something that you need to learn how to do, especially if you're going to build these guns, and if you want to work on them yourself instead of having to send them off to somebody else to do a relatively simple diagnosis. Anyway, guys, if you want to learn more about diagnosing problems and learning about PCCs, learning about these firearms, go check us out at sdi.edu. Look at our classes. I know I've learned a lot of stuff through these classes. I've taken these classes, and it really has helped me overall over time, just learning how to diagnose these problems. All right? Y'all be good, be safe. I appreciate you. Caleb Downing with SDI, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next video. See ya.